It was the year 1848 in Hydesville, New York, a town about 20 miles west of Rochester. A family named Fox had moved in that December into a two-story house in the woods. There was a mother and a father and two girls, Margaret, age 14, and Kate, aged 11. There were rumors by previous occupants that the house was haunted. In the middle of March, the Fox family was disturbed in the night by the sounds of strange knockings. The children were so scared they moved from their own bed into the bedrooms of their parents. The mother and father searched the house but could find no explanation. At around 7 o'clock on the night of March 31st, Kate Fox challenged the unseen power to repeat the snaps of her fingers by saying, "Mr. Splitfoot, do as I do." When she snapped her fingers, even if she did so without making noise, the knocks imitated her. Whatever it was, it could see as well as hear. Kate said, "Oh, Mother, I know what it is. Tomorrow is April Fool Day, and it's somebody trying to fool us." Then the mother asked the spirit how many children she had, and the raps answered correctly, along with their ages. A neighbor was brought in, and at first she was skeptical, until the raps, one for yes and two for no, answered her correctly as well. More questions discovered that the unseen spirit was a murdered man. He had his throat cut and was buried in the cellar. Soon other neighbors were called in to ask questions. A group of men began digging in the cellar to find his corpse. No remains were found. After hundreds had gathered to experience the phenomena, the family's Methodist church soon asked them to leave the congregation. This could only be witchcraft. The Foxes sent Kate away to live with her older sister Leah, a divorced music teacher in Rochester. Maggie was sent to live with her brother. Even separated, the raps continued. Leah saw potential in these rappings. She became their manager. Rochester was a town on the verge of change. It was the home of an abolitionist newspaper founded in 1847, and in 1848 a women's rights convention was held there. The town was filled with many free-thinking Quakers. The girls met friends of the family, a Quaker couple who believed in the unseen spirit, and were introduced to her friends, who also believed them. They became the core group of followers known as Spiritualists. Death was constantly on the minds of people. Nearly 1/3 of all babies died before they turned 1. Many mothers died in childbirth. A message that life continued beyond the grave was hungrily received. On November 14, 1849, the girls booked the Corinthian Hall in Rochester. There they demonstrated the rappings to an audience of 400. Afterwards, in a private room, the mortified girls were forced to disrobe in an attempt to discover if they were concealing sound-making devices under their dresses. Nothing was found. Not even in another room. Gradually, the Fox sisters became famous for their seances. At first, those who gathered took the seances less seriously, but soon prominent people began to attend. The movement became closely associated with women's rights. The girls told others that they were at the forefront of a new era in which the living and the dead would be able to communicate. The message they received from the dead was that they were still alive in the hereafter. One of Kate's admirers said that Miss Katie Fox is no doubt the most wonderful living medium. Her character is irreproachable and pure. I have received so much through her powers of mediumship which is solacing, instructive, and astounding that I feel greatly indebted to her. Another said, "Poor girl, with her simplicity, ingenuousness, and timidity, she could not, had she been so inclined, had practiced the slightest deception with any chance of success." In 1850, the three women journeyed to New York City to begin hosting regular seances, which proved to be, when managed by Leah, both frequent and highly profitable. They then embarked on a tour of major cities. Under the pressure, the two younger girls, only 16 and 13, began drinking. In 1852, 4 years after the rappings first appeared, Maggie met the famous Arctic explorer Elijah Kane. He was 15 years her senior. He attended a seance and became smitten with Maggie. He believed that the seances were fraudulent, but he and Maggie fell in love and secretly married. Elijah convinced Maggie to convert to Roman Catholicism. She suspended her activities as a spiritualist medium. Yet 5 years later, when Cain died and his family refused to recognize her marriage and leave her any money, the widow Maggie returned to the stage. Now the girls had competition from other mediums, as the phenomena the sisters had started had spread to hundreds of others. Around the Civil War in 1861, after thousands of soldiers died, many more wanted to contact their lost relatives. Even Abraham Lincoln attended seances with another medium in the White House. In 1872, Kate married. Her husband was a spiritualist. They had 2 children. Because of the continued stress of performing, Kate and Maggie had begun drinking even more heavily. They quarreled with their sister Leah, who, because of the drinking, had Kate's children taken away from her. And Maggie now felt that their powers were diabolical. She wanted a way out. In October 1888, a reporter said he would pay Maggie $1,500, worth almost $4,800 today, if she exposed herself as a fraudulent medium. Maggie, aged 55, appeared on stage before 2,000 people and publicly proclaimed spiritualism to be a fraud. She placed her stockinged foot upon a stool and demonstrated how she cracked her toe joints to produce the rapping sound. I am here tonight as one of the founders of spiritualism to denounce it as an absolute falsehood from beginning to end, as the flimsiest of superstitions, the most wicked blasphemy known to the world. Maggie's sister Kate, also in attendance, agreed. I regard spiritualism as one of the greatest curses that the world has ever known. Maggie was greeted with cheers and hisses. Some were glad that a fraud had been exposed. They considered spiritualism to be an insane adherence to a gigantic humbug. Others were upset that their religion was being mocked. True believers dismissed her confession as done only for the money. The public had moved on from the young women who had started the spiritualism craze. Hundreds of others were now exhibiting themselves as more extravagant mediums. Mediums were floating tables, being tied up while having extraordinary phenomena occur, showcasing ectoplasmic manifestations. Instead of being hailed as a truth teller, Maggie was forgotten. In need of money, Maggie took back her confession in November 1889. However, the high point of her career was over. Within the years 1890 to 1893, all the sisters would be dead. An admirer said, "I have witnessed and recorded many wonderful manifestations. I doubt if I had seen any more convincing than this, certainly none more refined, none that gave more conclusive evidence that pure and good and holy spirits alone were communicating."